Have you been hearing people talk about a fractional CFO, or hey, maybe you've heard a business friend say, I hired a CFO, and maybe you're curious about what that could look like for your business? Well, today we're going to talk about that. What does it look like to hire a fractional CFO? What different types of things should you be thinking about as you're looking for a CFO? And hopefully I can help dissect what you need to be looking for so that you can find a great fit if you do want to bring a CFO on your team. Or maybe at the end of this video, you'll realize, actually, it's not a CFO I need. Maybe I need something else altogether. That is what this video is going to help you with. So if that sounds good, please stay tuned. And I'm also going to show you guys a graphic that is super helpful in kind of dissecting and helping understand what type of accounting services you can get and also kind of what you need to be paying for at the same time. Lots of value that we're going to be adding here. And if this stuff is helpful to you, please make sure you are subscribed to the channel. If you run a small business and you want to get better at your money and your finances and you want to be more strategic, that is what this channel is for. So please go ahead and subscribe, and also make sure you put the little notification bell because we do post videos about once a week over here, and you'll be able to get notified when those videos post. All right, so Clara CFO Group that runs this channel, I run the channel. I own Clara CFO Group. My name is actually not Clara, it's Hannah, but that's okay. You guys can still call me Clara. But Clara CFO Group is a fractional CFO agency. And yes, I'm going to be a little bit biased during this video because I do think that we do things really well, but I all the time advising people to go a different direction when they need help with their finances, because sometimes they need what we do and sometimes they need something different. And I wanted to kind of break down different needs that you guys might be experiencing in your business and talk about the different services that are available to you through different types of CFO services. So I've been doing this for over 5 years now, and I've talked to a lot of people who provide CFO services. I have a lot of friends that are fractional CFOs that have their own businesses. And then I've also talked to lots of different CPAs and different companies that are offering these CFO services. So with all that, I've seen a lot of different options in the marketplace. And what I want for you is if you are considering these services, I want you to find the right match, because it is a big expense to be going through lots of different services and maybe realizing, paying somebody for a year and then realizing that's not really what you needed. And we like to help you here with your money, and I want to help you save money by finding the right fit from the very beginning. A couple different ways that people will be providing CFO services. So one is on a project basis. So if you have a project, let's say you are exploring the idea of having a new business line and you want to sort of flesh it out in the numbers first before you make any true investments, that would be a potential CFO project. So it might be a time that you could bring somebody in, a consulting CFO, to come in, do that work for you, and then provide a deliverable and leave. Now, another way that you might hire a CFO is maybe if you are looking to make a transition. Maybe you had somebody on your team that was kind of in that CFO seat, but you're looking to hire somebody new, but you need something in the interim. So that's what we call an interim CFO, which can also be kind of a fractional role. But an interim CFO would be sort of standing in for somebody until a full-time hire is made. Now, that's not what usually small businesses are hiring for. Small businesses, a lot of times, are hiring for insights. And so what they are typically looking for is somebody to sort of help them make decisions, or maybe they have questions and they want to have a financial expert on their team. So there are a lot of people who are like CPAs, let's say, that might be doing taxes and bookkeeping and lots of other things, but they also provide a CFO service. And what that could look like is sometimes they'll just say, hey, pay this monthly fee, or, maybe it's hourly, but call me when you need me. So that whole call me when you need me thing, that is really, really common for these CFO services. And with that, we call that a very reactionary service. So and that might work for a lot of people. Maybe you don't want to have a retainer and you just need somebody that you can talk to about your finances here and there. A reactionary service like that could be something that could help you out. Maybe you want someone to review your pricing with you, or maybe you have a question on whether or not you can afford to hire a new team member just for like one time here or there. That reactionary approach might be a cost-effective way for you to get that, a CFO advisory level without having the expense of something ongoing. Another way that we like to provide services, and this is what we see working really well for small businesses who are growing, who are actively trying to grow their businesses, is something that we call more operationally minded. So we actually get in and we talk to the business owners on a regular basis, and we're understanding other parts of their business, not just their finances, not just like the balance sheet and the income statement. We're getting in there and actually, asking questions about marketing, asking questions about their sales pipeline, asking questions about what are they doing on a day-to-day basis, and understanding how it affects the financials. And in that type of role, you're going to need to have somebody that stays on your team for a long time, because it doesn't make sense for someone to come in, understand everything about your business, and then leave like on a project basis, for example. So it wouldn't make sense for us to spend the time to understand all your business and then, be with you for a couple weeks and then leave. Like, you're going to be paying for a lot of time that wouldn't really help you at the end of the day if we would leave. So, you've got lots of different things. So I want you to think, if you're hiring this CFO, do you want somebody to be alongside of you for a long period of time, getting to know your business, understanding it? Or are you like, hey, I just need a spot need here and there. I have questions sometimes that my bookkeeper can't answer and I want to go to somebody else. Or maybe, are you looking at somebody who can offload something that another team member is doing? So let's say, the CEO, for example, is doing all the budgeting and forecasting. If you want to offload that to somebody else, that's more of a continual operation, is budgeting and forecasting. Budgeting happens usually once a year, but then the forecasting piece needs to happen basically month in, month out to adjust the forecast. Now, some people can get by with quarterly forecasts, but we're not getting into the nitty gritty of that. The point is that sometimes you need ongoing support and sometimes you just need spot support. So, there's lots of different ways that you can go and find CFO services. If you were to type in a Google search that says, CFO services, you're going to get a bunch of opportunities and options of different companies that you can work with. But really, it's about, what do you feel like you need support with? What are you looking for? Okay. Now we're going to move into this graphic that I find really, really helpful in understanding the different types of CFO services as well, because some of these you want to be paying on the lower end side for, and some of these are going to be higher end services. And I think that's the other thing, is I don't want you getting a low end CFO service and yet paying a high end ticket price because of the terminology CFO service. Okay. Again, I am here to help you guys. I'm here to help you hopefully make better business decisions and save you money, because I don't want you paying for a high-end service and getting a low-end service in return. Okay. So let's dive into this graphic. This graphic is developed by the AICPA, which is an institute for CPAs, and also the digital branch, which is CPA.com. And this was presented to me in a recent CPA conference that I was at. And it was really helpful in just kind of visualizing, where we are as a firm on this spectrum. And maybe we need to guide people to a different place for services if they're not quite at a place where they need ours just yet. Okay. So let's dive into this graphic, and I'm going to pull it up right now. So this graphic is the CPA.com CAS practice maturity model. Now, you might not know what that is, but it's basically understanding client advisory or client accounting services. And this graphic helps us understand kind of moving from transactional, just the day-to-day transactional things that accountants do, to more advisory services. So on the left hand is transactional, and on the right hand we have advisory. So it basically starts out just kind of saying like the basic business processes of, recording the entries every single day, working in bank feeds if you're in QuickBooks Online. That's the bookkeeping, monthly close process, just really basic things that need to get done. Paying bills, doing invoicing, that kind of thing. And then it kind of goes, the next level up from that is controllership. So this is where the controller or the controller role, not every company will have a controller, but some people will be doing this role. It's kind of they're the people who are making sure that the accounting processes are tight and that they are making sure that they capture all the information correctly. And they're also kind of ensuring the accuracy of the financials. Okay. So they are making sure that all of that historical information is solid. okay? But then we get into what does the CFO do? Because after the information we know is good, then we can start making decisions off of it and start understanding the data a little bit more. And that's where the CFO role comes in. So then we move on to this next span of services here. So all of these next 3 buckets are CFO level services, but they kind of go in stages. So I want to talk about those because you could be paying for kind of this first level of CFO advisory, and that's what you need to be getting if that's what you're paying for, but you don't want to be paying for a very expensive service and getting this like kind of level 1, let's say. Okay, so level 1, and that's the CFO Finance. So that's really where the CFO is looking at financial metrics and insights only, okay? And when I mean by financial, I really mean stuff that can be derived from the financial statements. So we're talking about like, what is the revenue, like maybe your percentage of labor to your revenue, or what is your net profit percentage, or maybe what is your return on assets, things like that. So really basic financial metrics, all of these things can be basically calculated and looked at from the financial statements. And so a lot of accounting firms and bookkeeping firms might offer a CFO level service that has the CFO finance function, where maybe they have a really great software that they've attached onto your QuickBooks so they can provide lots of pretty reports to you and, let you know what your, return on assets are, maybe know what your inventory turnover is, maybe your gross profit margin, that type of thing. But you're not necessarily going much deeper than that. You're not getting the information that's like, well, what should I do next? Okay, they might be giving you the data, but they might not be really taking you through, well, now what? Now what do we do operationally to improve it? So the next step up from that is what they call CFO Business Insights. And this is where you start to pair the financial information with non-financial information. And what I mean by non-financial information could be things like some of the stuff that's in your CRM, for example, or maybe what are you doing from a marketing perspective? What manufacturing processes do you have? Maybe what platforms or software are you using, and pulling data points from some of those. So it's going to go beyond the financial statements and you're going to be going into operational data. Okay. And this is really interesting because a lot of CFOs won't touch this type of stuff. And the ones that I see that aren't going to touch it the most are going to be your CPAs who are, mostly focused on tax season or, doing bookkeeping and doing taxes. A lot of times they're not going to be the ones that are going to jump into non-financial information with you. And honestly, this is where I see the most value coming from the CFO seat, the ones who are willing to get into the operational data. So, just understand that if you are okay with someone jumping into your operational data or not, okay? But that's a lot of times where the gold nuggets are for really making better decisions. So we really like to get into operational data, okay? And then, at this level, you probably are having dashboards and information delivered on both financial and non-financial. Okay, and then you get into kind of the next level, and this is kind of what we call like a top tier CFO. And this is Trusted Business Advisor. So Trusted Advisor Business Insights. This is like really where you're getting into the nitty gritty. You're having your CFO is asking questions, is understanding the business. They are aware of what's happening operationally in the business enough to know you as the business owner and to know what you need to do next. Now, they're not making decisions for you, especially if you've outsourced a CFO. They should not be making decisions on behalf of your organization, but they should understand it well enough to advise you based on your goals and where you want to go. Okay. So this is kind of like if you watch movies and you see like, or movies or shows where there's like a corporate CEO, the CFO is always kind of like right there too, right? So the CFO is always going to be that, right-hand person of the CEO, because the CEO looks over to the CFO and says like, can we do this? Can we not do this? Or, what do you think? Or, the CEO is driving the vision and the strategy and the direction of the company, but they're always kind of doing this side look to say like, does that make financial sense? Yes or no? And this is kind of where we get into that trusted advisor space. Okay. So this trusted advisor role is really where we sit as Clara CFO Group. Our team members go in and actually understand the business. We talk to the business owners on very regular basis, and then we are giving insights on based on what's happening with a lot of context to what is the organization currently working on, what are our current goals, what are our current challenges, what do we know like our resource constraints are, and how do we make a good decision, and how do we support the business owner to make a good decision with all of these factors that we know are going on. Because if we don't stay close to actually what's happening, we could give an analysis or something, but it might be irrelevant given the current state of the business. Okay, so we really highly recommend that if that's the level that you're looking for. If you're really looking for somebody to step in and sort of be that right-hand person or be that second level of clarity or sanity check with a business decision, we really like that trusted advisor role, okay? This is, when you're thinking about hiring a CFO, it is a big decision. And it's usually not going to be your smallest financial commitment in your business, because the people who are doing this work have had long professional careers. They have a wealth of knowledge, and you're paying for someone to understand this information and translate it to you in a way that you can digest it and understand it and make better decisions. And, honestly, most of the times you spend money on a CFO, you're going to get it back in return because of the advantages you're getting with better financial decision making. Okay, hopefully that's helpful. If you are interested in checking out our CFO services, you can go to claracfo.com. We will put the URL right here so you can check that out. And we'll also put some links in the description box below. And we're not afraid to say like, hey, we're not the right fit for you. So feel free to fill out our contact form, our discovery form. Hop on a discovery call with us. And if we really think that you need something different, we are happy to advise you in that direction. But we would also love to have you as a client if this feels like it's a good fit overall. All right. Well, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching. Hopefully this is helpful as you're making your CFO decisions. And let me know if anything is confusing or if you have any questions, please put them in the comment section below. All right. Thanks so much. Bye.